Anyway, want to do something today? My teacher's sick, so I have the day to spare. You have today off too, don't you? Every Wednesday, yeah. Why Wednesday out of all days? My favorite show airs Wednesday at 6 p.m. Not that you'd know, you're never home before it's over. For some reason, I expected a more reasonable explanation for it, but since it's you, I should have known. Asshole. Well, sure. The first thought that comes to mind is that he suggested it to help me take my mind off things, in which case it's greatly appreciated, so I wouldn't want to insult his attempt at making me feel better. Maybe his teacher isn't even sick, and he himself actually called in sick. That'd be such a Charles thing to lie about. My phone vibrates, so I pull it out of my pocket. A text. I have something to show you. You're welcome to visit my apartment any time after 3. I might be late, at work at the moment, so let yourself in if you have to. Key inside the porcelain rabbit. That was fast. It's only been a few days since we had that conversation on our way to work. A bit too fast, actually. I hope she's prepared for a possible no. I look up at Charles. What do you say about a visit to one of my colleagues? She's the cafe owner's daughter. You two might have something in common. Charles looks like a human question mark. Great, let's go. I knock on the door. The cold made my nose run just a little bit. I sniff, trying to keep it under control. The staircase to Jenny's apartment building is quite warm, however. My cheeks flush at the direct contrast to the outside. Charles stands beside me with a raised eyebrow. No reply, eh? Well then. I look down and instantly spot a small porcelain rabbit. I pick it up. She said there'd be a key in here. I hand it over to Charles. A key, eh? He flips it around, opens it up, and digs around in it with 2 fingers. Soon he produces a key. He hands it over to me. The key slides into the lock with ease. The door opens. A small, cozy apartment. But what instantly catches my attention is the audio equipment spread out all over her kitchen area. Frankly, it's a mess. Wires, microphones, gadgets, speakers, headphones, and then a laptop to top it all off. I'm taken aback. Charles walks over to the kitchen area for a closer look. I move over to the living room area and stare at it from afar. Damn, she's got a lot of stuff. Charles is inspecting the various items scattered all over the kitchen area. The rooms are connected, so I hear him just fine. High quality stuff, too. I stare at it all in disbelief. Jenny, how many paychecks do you spend on this? I may have unintentionally encouraged her to do this. Or rather, I encouraged her intentionally, but I didn't think she'd do this. Nope, I can't help myself. I walk up to the laptop. Fans are silently whirring. It's still on. I put my fingers on the touchpad and it comes alive. A music player is open. It's been paused in the middle of a track. I move the marker to the beginning of the track and then I press play. The room is instantly filled by a rhythmic guitar riff and a full bass. Then drums. Gentle strokes of strings are added shortly after the drums have begun bringing life to the track. Once the track has hooked us, I feel myself drifting away in its beauty. Why? Because angelic vocals fill my world. My jaw is instantly floored. An extremely feminine and smooth voice makes my hair stand on end. I close my eyes instinctively as I take in the powerful symphony presented to me. The tension in the track is just right. It's clearly built around the vocals, and the high highs and low lows are executed flawlessly. Each component complements the others perfectly. The production is professional. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I exhale heavily. I feel overloaded with emotion. My chest feels as if it's about to burst. You didn't, Jenny. You didn't. The warm bass is pulsating throughout the ground. I can feel it in my bones. The track ends with an especially heavy bass note. I embrace the silence. The storm has passed, but it's still ringing out in my head. As often with catchy songs like this one, it peaked around the chorus. Jenny just displayed incredible skill as far as I'm concerned. She never overstayed on the track, nor did she underperform. I can't help but assume it was directed by a professional. Amazing. I open my eyes. I notice the crevices around my eyes are wet. I take another deep breath and exhale peacefully. Then I look at Charles. He's staring dumbfoundedly at the speakers. You said this girl's a waitress? And a bartender. Then, I couldn't help myself. I could tell what you were up to, but I wasn't about to interrupt. Jenny timidly enters the apartment. So, did you like it, Sophie? I walk over to her and wrap my arms around her as I pull her close to me. I whisper my reply into her ear. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I'm not that confident yet, I guess, despite all the exercising. I've been singing since I was 7, only in secret. Whenever I get to be alone, I sneak off to the closest karaoke place. She smiles reluctantly. I know my mom doesn't really think it's something I should get too invested in. If she knew the amount of money I put into my equipment, and karaoke for that matter. Has your mom heard you sing? No. Well, when I was young, sure, that hardly counts though, does it? I chuckle. She should hear this. Also, I think you've got it wrong. I think she just wants you to take care of the shop when she gets too tired to go on. But you'll do that regardless of whether you sing or not, won't you? Of course. It's a family business after all. Question. Shoot. You didn't engineer this yourself, did you? I mean, the production values are off the charts. Oh no, I only sung. A guy I know online did the rest. He told me the best equipment for my purpose and explained how to use it to get vocal tracks that I in turn would send him. A valuable friend. Yeah, can't disagree with that one. He's amazing. His name is Andrzej, and he lives in a neighboring city. We've never actually met. But I've been telling him about my dreams for many years. He's been nothing but supportive. Charles had been quiet so far, but apparently he had noticed his cue. Hey, I'm Charles, childhood friend of Sophie's. Hey, I figured as much. This is where I'd say I've heard so much about you, but I really haven't. The little I have heard, though, says a lot about you. Charles chuckles briefly and shrugs awkwardly. I smile. Yeah, I'd be worried too, dummy. They exchange a firm handshake in front of me. I didn't realize the importance of the event unfolding before me at the time, but I had unintentionally brought together two people whose fates would intertwine in the very near future. And then he dared criticize me for being cautious. Early morning. In a few minutes, we'll be opening for the day. Jenny's in the kitchen making us breakfast, presumably whipping up her usual scrambled eggs. Meanwhile, I'm wiping the tables. This is a tradition on days Eda's not here to keep us in check. To pass time painlessly, we're chatting about pointless things. So what did you say then? Well, first I had to tell him how completely off base he was about me. And then I may have suggested something was going to collide with his face if he didn't watch the next few words coming out of his mouth. You didn't. Oh, but I did. She comes out of the kitchen, beaming with 2 small plates of scrambled eggs and bacon. I look at my watch. 3 more minutes. These will have to be chomped down promptly. We sit down. I grab my fork and go right at it. My scrambled eggs are never this good. Well, I've been making them for as long as I can remember. You'll get there someday. Not a minute later, our plates are empty. I guess I'll take the kitchen again. Yeah, sorry. No worries, I was just teasing. I kind of prefer it, actually. We opened the doors and I made my way behind the register, and so the workday had begun. By the looks of it to be a perfectly normal morning. Or so I thought. Welcome, what can I get you? A rugged-looking man, and he's staring right at me with an intense gaze. As if a switch had been flipped within me, I can feel my polite smile vanishing off my face. Warning bells go off inside my head. Unpleasant tingles run down my back. My subconscious is screaming something at me. It can't be. I close my eyes to make sure I'm not at home sleeping in my bed in the middle of a nightmare. When I open my eyes, please be gone. Please. It's him, isn't it? I'll have a coffee. Black, sugar, milk, and something sweet to go along with it. His eyes are hollow and aggressive, and his stare unyielding. It digs itself deep into me. I remain unfazed, but my insides are screaming. My heartbeat has doubled its pace. My chest feels like it's going to burst. Jenny's delicious scrambled eggs and bacon, were they actually rotten? I feel so nauseous. this change and force another smile. It'll be just a moment as I prepare your drink. The man accepts the change, remaining silent. All I get is a stare, a long one. His mouth is open. He appears to be breathing heavily. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he turns around, waiting for me to prepare his coffee. That's when I quickly run into the kitchen. My panicked eyes meet Jenny's, and if the look in my eyes was enough for her to realize, I managed to utter a few words. I think he's here. It takes Jenny a moment for my words meaning to sink in. Then as if a switch had been flipped. What? Her look turns panicked. What do? I feel so nauseous. Jenny, I want to get out of here. I wrap my arms around my stomach as I lean against the nearest wall, fending off the wrong thoughts. I'm about to topple over. Oh God. Jenny looks confused as to what to do for a brief moment, but she gives off an aura of determination. Just stay here, we'll swap duties for now. I'll come back here and get you when he's gone. If he asks about you, I'll tell him that you went home for the day. Alright, whatever you do, don't give him your name. I most definitely won't. In one go, she pulls off her name tag off her apron and discards it in the nearest trash can. Good luck cooking. I give off a nervous laugh, hoping I won't be receiving any complicated orders. I've been given thorough instructions on how to cook our best sellers, but I can't for the life of me remember a single piece of advice in my current state. Jenny leaves me be. She looks a bit nervous as she left, and rightfully so. Within me, anger is building up. The minutes seem to pass quickly. The only thing I can think about is the man on the other side of the wall that's waiting for me. I take orders, I prepare sandwiches, I fry eggs, all on autopilot. It's as if the world around me is moving quickly, but I've moved myself at a normal speed. Every time I look at the clock, just a couple of minutes have passed. After about an hour, Jenny comes back into the kitchen. He's gone. He actually even asked for you. I told him you finished your shift just like we agreed. My stomach turns into a knot. I knew it. Seems my intuition actually can be trusted. I guess I really have had some time to learn to judge people after my time in the spotlight. Unbelievable. A silent moment. What do you think his intentions were today? I snorted her question. Well, if I knew that, I would either be a lot more or a lot less nervous. Right now I'm just somewhere in the middle on the scale, and it's frankly quite torturous, not knowing that is. Can't say I envy you. I'm ready to put it all behind me. I'm ready for him to just disappear. But it won't be that easy, will it? I'd hoped being at work would help with keeping myself distracted, but then he had to show up here terrorizing me, ruining my only chance of distraction. What drives someone to infringe on someone's sanity in this manner? Are they oblivious to the tumult they create within me, or do they simply not care? Do they want to hurt me? Is that it? Are they beyond reason? Are they perhaps clinically insane? Or are they just that insensitive? Whatever the reason, I've had it. I don't want to live in fear any longer. I never did. I tried to push it away the moment I was faced with it, but it turned out to be more difficult than I first anticipated. It started haunting me wherever I went. Random events in my everyday life began to remind me of the situation I'm in. Even far-fetched events unlinked to the situation, but they'd still remind me of it through wicked ways. He's long gone, okay? And listen to me. Go home. It's the least I can do for you. Honestly, I don't even want to step outside right now. He might be waiting for me. Jenny scratches her head. Yeah, I see what you mean. And we can't call the police on just a hunch, right? Indeed. Besides, there's no proof it was even him that had trespassed. How annoying. Well, just hang in there, I guess. The kitchen is yours. Yeah. The remaining time at work I spent in the kitchen. In a sense, I felt trapped, but at the same time, it was probably safer than both the register and my home. Thinking it'd be for the best not to walk home alone after my shift, I got an idea. I sent a text to Charles asking him to come here after school, and so he did. In this closed, greasy space, I found comfort, if only a little. And only for a short while. So he came here, did he? I'm like 99% sure it was him, yeah. That's pretty creepy. Tell me about it. What did he look like? Dark clothes, greasy hair, hollow eyes, poor posture. That's about all I remember. Alright, let's go. very beginning, by the way. I should go stay elsewhere. I hate to admit it, because on some level, it would mean giving in. But here I am, and he's out there. It's real. It's starting to get to me, and it seems it isn't going away no matter how much I ignore it. But Charles cuts me off. I don't want to tell you I told you so, but good, keep that unsaid. Because then again, in the end, I can't bring myself to give in. It would be defeat in a sense. I don't want to be that one fragile girl that runs away from her problems. If I admit that much to myself, I'm giving him power. Fear is a strong motivator to change your way of living, but honestly, while you were indeed right, I refuse, on principle. Charles scratches the back of his head. So what you're saying is, it's not very pleasant for me either. Feel free to go sleep at a friend's or something. I'm staying right here. You're surprisingly stubborn, miss. Charles exhales deeply. Well, I guess this is all settled then. It is. Good night, Sophie. Good night, Charles. Cheater, adulterer, bitch. Another man in your home, using him as your personal knight wherever you go. How utterly disgusting. You're mine and mine only. How dare you put me in this position? It was supposed to be me. My heart is beating furiously and my head is spinning. And it's all because of you. You. I moan. I squeal. I yelp. My numb fists hit the pavement, ripping the skin off my knuckles as if it were paper. Blood, wounds, pain. It hurts. It hurts really bad. I think I see bone protruding from beneath. You did this, you dumb bitch. You. It's all your fault. I'm the only one for you, and I thought you knew that. My teeth make an awful noise as I grind them together, horizontally, vertically, and over, never ending. It's not right. It's not right. I start rocking back and forth as I try to cope with this massive betrayal. Your purity is gone. Filthy, filthy, filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. I repeat this mantra until I've calmed down. You disgust me. After everything I've done for you. For all the years I've lusted for you, worshipped you, idolized you. This is what I get. I deserve better. You deserve the worst. I reach for a small leather pouch in my inner jacket. I press my fingers against it, feeling it up, feeling its contents shape. You dumb bitch. You've done it now. Charles is at the kitchen table, typing away on his laptop. I'm going out for a bite and drink with Jenny. Want to come? You sure that's a good idea? And I do have quite a few things to bring up with her. About you two practicing together. Yeah, I see. And no, I don't think it's a great idea. But I already told you where I stand on this matter. Protest through ignoring, got it. He sighs and looks up from his laptop. Well, actually, I can't. I've got homework to do. In fact, I'm heading over to a classmate's to go over it in a bit. Might be a long night. Alright, too bad. Uh-huh. Well, I'm off. He looks at me for an extra few seconds before replying. I can see the worry in his expression and the regret of not being able to come along. Yeah, see you. Oh, and make sure to have her accompany you home. Will do. Alright, take care. Give her my regards. Super safe so-so. Everything was going fine. I had met up with Jenny and we went to a relatively quiet, empty bar together. We were overjoyed because it meant that we had the full attention of the handsome bartender. I only enjoyed a beer or two, 3 at most, which is why it surprised me when I suddenly got very drunk. We had only had some chicken skewers to eat, so I suppose that could have been it. We ordered in more food because of the way things were going. I'd be absolutely bashed before the clock even turned 2300. Some more folks trickled in as we approached midnight, muddling the previously clear atmosphere in the bar. I know because the large clock behind the bartender was somehow entrancing to me. In the middle of the small snack, in between the friendly conversation and the laughs accompanied by it, Jenny suddenly announced she had to go. I don't remember what she said or why she had to leave, but I was soon left there by myself. Wasn't I supposed to ask her to accompany me home? So, I'll come back to this one. Everything is fine. I was having a lot of fun, however, so it didn't bring my mood down. I had stayed there by myself for a while longer, chatting with those around me. They had gotten off work late and were friendly, inviting, and eager to vent. After a while, I decided this was no place to hang around by myself anymore, not in my current state. I paid my share of the bill and left the bar. That's when I realized for sure that something was off. Now that I thought about it, ever since I got entranced by the large clock behind the bar, I noticed something wasn't quite the way it was supposed to be. My world was spinning. My world is spinning. Fast. Round, round, round. My limbs were not listening to my commands, but not from lack of trying. Instead, they moved sluggishly and without finesse, in a manner that reeks of intoxication. I tried to walk home, but everything was blurry to my eyes. Somehow, I can't seem to fixate on one specific thing, including signs and thoughts. My thinking is inflexible. My brain jumps from one thought to another in the matter of seconds. I'm in a realm where I move at half the rate of everything around me. Why am I like this? I've had too much to drink before, but never have I ended up like this. I can't even feel the cold around me. It's past midnight, that much I know, but my limbs suddenly feel numb to what's normally excruciatingly cold. How do I feel about this? I don't know. My compass, my heart, whatever you want to call it, that one voice that constantly narrates your inner world is absent. There's a void. I have no feelings. How strange. I hear laughter and chatter. They convey meaning, I'm sure, but my brain can't decipher the information. I also hear music, mostly dark, pulsating bass, vibrating throughout the ground. A silhouette approaches me. It remains a silhouette even as it stands before me. It makes gestures and talks, but it's all lost on me. I open my mouth and let them know I want to go home. My throat is parched, my lips are numb, and no sounds are produced despite my efforts. Perhaps my vocal cords are numb as well. They grab my arm and pull me in a direction. Their rough grip and my feeble arms make me unable to go against a stranger's will. I should be panicking at the thought of this happening, but I don't feel a thing. I feel entranced, as if I'm lost in a separate realm, watching a movie through someone else's eyes. The constant noise of the streets starts to fade out, and so does the light of the streets. All as if someone had turned down the volume of my headphones and the brightness of my monitor. The spinning never stops. It's steady and pulsating, and my surroundings are just as hazy as before. The grip lets go of my arm. How nice. Oh, they brought me home. A few seconds pass as I try to figure out what's going on. Then I see something moving. It hits me, and I fall. My cheek meets hardness reminiscent of asphalt. I can't see a thing from here but the moon. Am I not home? Did I fall? Was I pushed? But I can hear and I can distinguish two separate voices. I can't tell what they're saying, but the tonation of them is different. One is angry, one is meek, one is vindicated, one is regretful. Then silence. A long, long, seemingly endless silence. I don't know for how long I lie on the ground. Hello? Is anyone there? How long has passed? The voices have since long left. I put my palms on the ground, numb. I try to stand up, but I fall to the side once more. I keep trying. It's difficult putting your body's weight on two numb slabs of meat. I feel as if my wrists could snap and I wouldn't feel a thing. After a few attempts, I managed to get onto my legs. They feel brittle and unreliable, but I don't have a choice but to rely on them. They're the only legs I have at my disposal. I walk. Bright, colorful lights guide my way. I walk for what feels like an eternity. Gradually, I start seeing familiar lights. I feel like I've been here before. As if controlled by an autopilot function, I walk past the familiar lights. I reach a street I know quite well. The street on which my house is. Mustering all the energy available to me, I knock on the door. Moments pass in silence. The door isn't opening. To open a door, you need a key. My limbs fill around me as they pat down my pockets. Can't find it. Furthermore, where's my bag? Disorientation, my head sways to the left, then to the right. I don't have my bag. A distant voice from further away than it has ever been. It whispers to me, "Check under the garden gnome to the left of you. That's where you keep a spare key." I do as I'm told, and just as the voice had whispered to me, under the gnome I find a key. I stumble in the house, tearing off my clothes, piece after piece. I make my way into the bedroom and head straight for the bed. As my numb body meets the bed, I can feel the warmness of my blanket flare up and spread throughout my body. Not much later, my stomach begins to cramp. Nausea. I'm still watching the events taking place from someone else's perspective. I feel distant to the weak girl violently throwing up all over her bed. Fatigue. Fatigue spreads across my body. As the violent cramps run their course, I drift in a state between consciousness and unconsciousness. After a good while, a sense of relief fills me up. I'm able to relax. Then, everything finally turns black. My eyes gradually open. Did they not just close? I can't see clearly. I blink a few times. It's still blurry, but it helped just a little bit. My eyes meet my bed. The first thing that hits me is the sharp smell of stomach acid. I get nauseous. I can't lie in this filth any longer. I stumble out of bed, and then I strip completely. My limbs feel numb and weak. A headache so powerful that a stagger hits my forehead. I move towards the bathroom. I get into the shower and turn the handle to the right. Warm water is instantly unleashed against the entirety of my body. I take deep breaths. The air is incredibly humid. After all, I'm inhaling steam. I look down at myself. My thighs are trembling slightly. Is that out of exhaustion, I wonder? Furthermore, what happened to me? This wasn't an alcohol-induced trip, I'm sure of it. I start to cry. I'm scared, anxious, confused. I start to scrub my body. I feel dirty all over, so I have to. The subtle aroma of mango fills my shower cabin. But all I see is red. The smell is soothing me, though, if only a bit. It smells so pure and free of worries. Nothing like what I see. Soon I've stopped crying. I step out of the shower in front of the bathroom mirror. I look awful. Soft bathroom mat under my feet feels great, though. I reach for my towel. I wrap myself in it. I feel more calm now. I reach for some pajamas in my drawer. As their soft fabric meets my skin, I feel all the more calm. I can move on with my day now. I head straight back to the bedroom, throwing the filthy linens aside. Then I lie down and catch at least another couple hours of sleep. Are you okay? He must have rushed home the moment he got the text. There's simply no other way for him to already be here otherwise. I had just returned myself. He's staring straight into my eyes with both his hands on my upper arms. Yeah, I'm fine. A bit nauseous, maybe. Man, now I feel even more guilty for always being so late with my homework. If I'd come with you, maybe I could have done something. Or maybe it wouldn't have happened at all. Do you suppose someone spiked your drink or what? I don't know. I guess. It felt like I was really, really drunk, but then impaired beyond that as well. Don't worry, though. I'm fine. Nothing really bad happened after all. Wonder what kind of creep would do that to you, though. Right, as if that's not obvious. The only problem is that we have no idea who he is. Charles clicks his tongue. Why me? Why is it always me? It's not pleasant in the slightest knowing you were picked out of many for a dubious purpose. What did the police say? For starters, that there's still not much they can do. After all, I barely know what happened myself. I went and got some blood taken, though. They said they'd run a tox screen to determine what it was used to render me impaired, which will tell us approximately nothing about him. So, what exactly? We do nothing but keeping our eyes open going forward, then? Not much more we can do. Geez, so... He looks away as if pondering something. There is something we can do. I'm not saying it'll yield any results, but it could be worth looking into. Yeah, out with it. When you feel like it, we should probably go back to that same bar you were at. You're thinking they'd return to the same place. That's how they work, no? Maybe I've just watched too much TV. I wouldn't mind. It was a cozy bar. I know. We'd go back pretending not to know each other. I'd observe you from afar, and maybe we'd learn something from that. About those TV shows. Well, it's not an awful idea. Just give me some time to recover, will you? Of course. Sorry. I exhale loudly and rub my temples. Want to cook for me? I'm feeling a bit out of it. Charles's worry turns into an earnest smile. Sure. Later we have a meal together, a much-needed one. Meatballs, juices dripping out of them, along with freshly made ligonberry jam, and potatoes on the side. I feel so much better. I'm glad. Do you know what the secret to good cooking is? Besides raw-filled, befitting masterclass French chef like myself. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't go along with his dumb jokes, but at this point I see it as a game. If I get annoyed in any shape or form, I lose. If I give him a deadpan answer to his question, ignoring asinine details without breaking a sweat, I win. I don't know the first thing about cooking, which you should know by now, so no. He raises his right eyebrow at me, measuring my reaction. MSG, monosodium glutamate. It's said to have a savory taste, or umami as some people call it. Despite the pretentious description, it's actually just a type of salt. However, it's very underused in Western cooking. Wonder why that is. I just pair a pinch of it with regular salt, and suddenly my cooking's flavors are amplified even further. It's good, right? I am victorious. Yeah. So that's your secret, then. Yep. Well, I lied. I'm not even that good of a cook, but a few salts and suddenly it's almost impressive. As if I didn't already know. Seems too good to be true. Lots of things are, but this isn't one of them. Simple science. And no, MSG is actually naturally occurring in certain foods, so you won't get brain cancer from it. Good to know. He looks content as our eyes meet. I still feel a bit under the weather despite the huge improvements in my well-being granted by a shower and food. I'm just not sure he noticed as much, because he turned serious in a matter of seconds. I didn't mean to scare you or anything, but keep your eyes peeled for a while, so... You never know, you know? Yeah, will do. What else can I say? Nah, I won't. Great. He looks relieved yet troubled, as if thinking maybe I just made things even worse for her. But you didn't, so don't worry about it. On the contrary, it warms my heart that you care enough about my well-being to suggest such things. After all, as sad as I am to admit, being affected by ill-meaning outside forces in this matter is not something new to me. Having someone stick by my side through good times and bad makes me all warm inside. That is a first. Thank you for that, Charles. I'd like to think that hole in my heart is mending, slowly. Three weeks later. Today was just an ordinary day, wasn't particularly hectic, nor had it allowed me to slack off. It was one of those days that you'd soon forget as it was absolutely mediocre and average in every sense of the word. I hadn't been bored and I hadn't been stressed. Speaking of stress, just now, for the first time in a while, I realized I hadn't thought of my stalker for the entire day. Until now, that is. Simply thinking of the word stalker sent a chill down my spine. Charles and I had kept our eyes open and even prepared for the worst at one point. But after the last incident, the days had passed by one after another, and after 2 weeks, there just didn't seem to be a definite reason to put all my energy into fueling our paranoia. It goes without saying that it still bothers me from time to time. In particular, it's still unpleasant to walk home alone, and going out by myself late at night, that's not something I think I'll be doing for the foreseeable future. I do look over my shoulder occasionally when I'm in public. Yet again, it has become like second nature. The police have notified me of any new details pertaining to my reports and case, but I suppose it's possible they somehow managed to scare him off. Scare him off the idea of pestering me. It didn't culminate in something awful, and for that I'm happy. Well, yet at least, if you want to be pessimistic. I'm on the street right in front of the cafe. Right now I have my mind on a succulent, filling dinner. Fast food is on the agenda. I stand still as I look to the left and then to the right. The options are many, and the hole in my stomach feels endless. Fried chicken, burgers, pizza, ramen. I feel like a child on Christmas Eve. I'll go to a restaurant and then pay for the food with my hard-earned money. Something I've begun to realize is that there's nothing quite like spending money you've earned by yourself, especially when it's through your full attention and dedication. I've been giving it my all. It's a refreshing feeling knowing you've done right for yourself in the world. You fill a function. You're useful to somebody. It's nice. I've had financial independence for as long as I can remember, but it wasn't ever like this. Not even close. This is a feeling I'm experiencing for the first time, and it won't be forgotten anytime soon. No wonder some people get stuck working their entire lives. That night, I slept incredibly well. After having shared some tips and tricks for performing at live venues, a request which I thought came seemingly out of nowhere, Jenny thought it was time to get to the meat of the session. I sit down next to her. I'd feel rude if I were to comment on it, but in general, her apartment feels quite stale. There's something else, too. The way things are arranged in the one big room of hers is as if she had just moved in, but I don't think that's true at all. Yeah, now I'm sure. Artificially clean is a good way of putting it. Moreover, the air in here is cold and raw. Before I know it, I find myself using the blanket I was given to curl up into a ball. The room around us is poorly lit. The large glowing bulb and an IKEA ornament above our heads forms a bright circle on the floor, and we're right in the middle of it. It actually makes me highly uncomfortable. I look around me, but from within the spotlight, all I see is the darkness and blurry contours lurking outside it. The blinding light from above hinders any further sight. I look down at her laptop screen as she taps away on it. The maximum brightness setting on the monitor is redundant. This was supposed to be a mending moment for me, but I feel more on edge right now than I have in weeks. Stalkers. How they work and what to do when targeted by one. She told me that we needed to educate ourselves. Fair enough, who was I to reject a suggestion like that? That's what I had gone through my head as if she had asked if I wanted to come over to study. Now I was beginning to regret my decision, however. I was on my way to mending my psyche, but with this, it felt as if it could all be undone in an instant. Jenny begins to read the article out loud. Many stalkers are extremely notorious. Their motivation often stems from obsession, but to them it's a form of infallible love, which makes them hard to get rid of once they've grown obsessed, or from their point of view, fall in love with their target. I sense how I instantly begin to space out. Not from boredom, but from fear. I feel cold all over, and my head feels light. I'm not sure I want to hear this. I feel distant. In the majority of cases, an intervening party has to stop the stalker from pursuing the stalked, but the obsession can also naturally grow weaker, in which case the stalker ultimately loses interest. Typically, a new object of obsession has been found which allows the stalker to move on. The worst-case scenario, which sadly isn't too uncommon, is that you randomly run into your stalker years in the future on a seemingly completely unrelated note. The harsh truth, of course, is that there's nothing random when it comes to stalkers. nothing is unrelated. Everything is premeditated. They have everything planned out from start to finish and are always several steps ahead of you. Among the pitch-black shadows of the room, I see flickers. Something's there, lurking, hiding, waiting for me. Jenny, could you please... In one specific case we researched, a lady was casually enjoying her vacation without having heard from her stalker for 10 whole years. When she was asked by a random passerby if she'd finally like to spend some time together with her true soulmate. In the dark, I see menacing eyes. They surround us. Whose eyes are those eyes? I feel hunted, and seen in the middle of the spotlight projected upon us, exposed. Naturally, the woman recognized the man in an instant, and needless to say, the occurrence had not been close to random, but instead been planned with great care. Shut up! With great force, I shut her laptop closed in an instant. The apartment is completely silent, barring some light fan noise from the now-shut computer. In my head, over and over, I can hear my words ring out. I notice my arms are trembling. Jenny looks at me, clearly shocked at my strong reaction. Then she notices my unsteady hands. I breathe rapidly as I look around the room frantically. She senses something's wrong. Her expression turns from shock to full of regret. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Your hands, they're trembling. It happens sometimes. It's some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder. Hell if I know. I try to brush it off, but it's futile. It trumps rationality. It's happened before? I exhale deeply, not quite feeling in control of my voice. I want to close my eyes and escape this feeling. But if I did that, I'd lose my one way of catching the darkness before it consumes me. When my anxiety levels are elevated, it hits me out of nowhere. My voice wavers. Oh God, I'm so sorry. This was an awful idea, I just thought... Jenny clears her throat and decides to try another approach. Well, it is the internet, so don't forget you should take what we just read with a huge pinch of salt. And I do mean a huge pinch. About you, okay? Can we turn on some lights? The light behind me almost. I'm completely serious. Of course. With a panic look in her eyes, Jenny jumps out of the couch. She's awful at making me feel better, but I can't possibly get any better. This goes far outside of the person's expertise, after all. A little bit of light gradually fills the room. The lamp is a slow starter. The anxiety disperses along with the darkness, just a little. It's still equally alarming because there's at least some truth to it, isn't there? With a look of defeat on her face, she shrugs. Most likely. I inhale deeply, and it feels like the first fresh of breath air since we stepped into her apartment. Now that I can properly see my surroundings, Jenny's apartment is actually quite nice. She's got various cute accessories as decorations spread across the place. It makes me smile intuitively. Would you like something to drink? Perhaps a cup of tea would help calm you down. Calm me down? Yes, I want to be calmed down. Please. Soon Jenny placed a hot cup of soothing herbal tea in my hands. I took as many sips as I could muster, as I thought to myself how cute all of her accessories are. Especially the pink elephant. Absolutely adorable. I want to hug it, and alongside it, I want to dance among equally pink clouds. From that moment on, it was as if we had even read the article. We talked about completely unrelated things, about this and that, while heavy subjects were never approached. There was no doubt in my mind that she kept it that way intentionally after seeing my reaction. I'm grateful for your consideration, Jenny. And to my brain for allowing myself to exhale darkness and inhale pink clouds in return. A trait I never want to reverse. We listened to my group's old songs too, which was embarrassing and awkward, but it was all good fun in the end. Then I told her anecdotes of a life she had yet to experience. Jenny said she never met a famous person before. Knowingly, I retorted, because they might just be about anyone. The evening turned to night, and after a few hours of fun chatting, it was time for me to leave. A great distraction from everything awful. I was on my way outside the door when she called out to me, however. You'll be fine on your way home, won't you? I had promised myself not to go outside by myself this late. In fact, I didn't want to, which is why my reply to her came as a surprise even to me. I'll be fine. I guess I didn't want to worry her. Or maybe I was too much of a coward to admit weakness. Or perhaps I wanted to believe I was being strong by not accepting help or company. Regardless of the reason, modest nightlife of our city has taken full effect. Lively chatter in the street is bouncing between the walls of the buildings. I walk towards home. I walk through the masses. People's shoulders, arms, and chests brush against me. I look around in a paranoid fashion. After all, he could be anywhere. He could be anyone. I react to every phrase uttered, anything that could be the idea of whether it's him or not. It's stressful. I don't want to be here any longer. I want to go home. Sensory overload. I can't keep up with it all. Panic only increases. I'm incredibly warm and dizzy. I take off my gloves and put them under my arm for now. I can't stand something impairing my ability to catch the darkness and time right now. I start walking faster. Somehow I managed to make it all the way to my neighborhood without losing grip of my pink elephant completely. I look down the long street I live on. In that moment, far down the street, a shady figure makes a sudden appearance. My heart turns into ice. Alarms go off in my head. Words ring out within me, and they are seemingly never-ending. Stalkers are often isolated individuals with little or no social contacts, leaving their subject fixation to be the only thing of substance in their life. Their failure to realize their approaches are unwanted stems from a lack of understanding of others' emotions, often due to social inexperience or mental handicap hindering them. The man gradually comes closer. I can't move. With each step he takes towards me, more information about his appearance is revealed. He is likely in his mid to late 40s. Gray strands have begun to appear in his otherwise dark hair. I still can't make out his facial features. The darkness is far too dense to allow it, but I remember them well from the day in the cafe. If only there was a little bit more light around here. I look to the side. I anchor my stare in a brick wall to the left of me while repeating a mantra. Go away, go away, go away. Maybe if I wish for it enough times, he'll actually disappear. In my peripheral vision, I can sense his figure slowly approaching. Is there anything you're missing in your life? Something to keep you warm at night, perhaps? I step out of my trance. My heart is pounding hard. I look directly at the man's eyes. They're kind. He extends his hand towards me. I look down at them. My gloves. I didn't even notice them fall in my grasp. I grab them. The man then walks past me up towards the main street. You're welcome. It wasn't him. I almost begin to laugh. It wasn't him. I feel like laughing. I feel like crying. I feel like throwing up too. When you're spooked, everyone and everything turns into demons. That's the very definition of paranoia. You see things that aren't there, and you lose your ability to stay rational. My train of thought just now was not unwarranted, I suppose, but was it necessary? No. Once safely home, it quickly becomes obvious that Charles has already gone to bed. I try my best not to make much noise. I wouldn't want to wake him up, after all. I want to tell him about today. I want to be held and to be supported by my best friend, and have him tell me that everything's going to be all right. My face is locked in a twisted smile due to the sheer ridiculousness of what happened earlier. It is a smile riddled with sadness. Deep down, I'm in a state of chaos. I feel awfully alone. I make sure the door is locked. Then I go to bed promptly. When I wake up in the morning, I hear Charles humming in the shower. Or was it because of his humming that I woke up? Regardless of which order these things happened, I get up. As I get dressed, his humming continues. It stands out in contrast to the usual silent mornings in this house. Vocal cord exercises? I sit down at the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal. After a while, he comes out of the bathroom fully dressed, still humming. Morning. Hey, what's with the humming? Practice. You're really going all out, huh? Go hard or go home, or what is it they say? Uh-huh. It's true, between all the late evenings and the declined social invitations, it's safe to say Charles has been taking his work seriously for a long time now. How many months has it been now? And now with him and Jenny always talking about making music together. I have to admit, though, I'm a bit impressed by your efforts. You're really going for it, huh? I repeat myself. I can't seem to think of something else to say. Seems that way. I think I've really found my path, so I'm glad. The fruity smell of mango seeps out of the bathroom. Did you use my body wash? Yeah, sorry, ran out of mine. Should I have asked beforehand? It's fine. The conversation stops there. I didn't tell him. I was done being a victim. I snap out of my sleep. Oh, make it stop, I beg you. God damn it. I blindly reach for my phone and swipe right. Yes. Hey, that took you a while to pick up. Were you in the shower? No, Jenny, I was sleeping. She snickers. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You're one of those people. Well, it's about time you got up anyway, isn't it? Much appreciated. Not. Well, out with it. I imagine torturing me is not the only reason for your call. Good news. Mom called me. They found the guy that was harassing you. I sit up in bed instantly. They what? How? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They did what? Well, they looked through the security camera at the cafe and apparently they found a match somehow. It was a foreigner, and he was forced to buy a one-way ticket out of here and was banned from returning. Well, I don't really know exactly how it went down, but they're confident they found the right guy. You won't be bothered again. Isn't that great? I chuckle. Well, yeah, if that's true, that's great. Thanks for letting me know. Had they really found him? It's hard to believe, but if they say they're confident, then... No problem. Oh, by the way, I've got a question for you. If, purely hypothetically, of course, Charles and I landed a gig at some pub, would you come? You got a gig? Well, yeah, I think so. You know that online friend of mine? He got me in touch with this guy, and then he got me in touch with this other guy. When? Where? I asked not because of the enthusiasm on my side, but because I wanted to end this call as soon as possible. She told me the planned place, date, and time I marked in my calendar, and with that I began to mentally prepare myself. The day felt so far